Okay guys, if you've watched this channel, you probably know that we have wrapped every vehicle you can imagine. Fishing boats, racing boats, golf carts, wheelchairs, trucks, exotic cars, racing cars, monster trucks, buses, RVs, motorcycles, and even helicopters and airplanes. Anything you could think of, we have wrapped. Some vehicles, I don't even know what the hell they are. The point is, we are not afraid of challenges. Well, today we are going to begin to wrap a gorgeous brand new 2021 C8 Corvette. Now, we've wrapped a ton of Corvettes, but not a full wrap on this new body style. And not with what the owner wants this car wrapped in, chrome vinyl. Now, we put chrome vinyl on lots of cars, including my cars, but we've never wrapped an entire vehicle in chrome. And with that car's body lines, good night, this one's gonna be crazy.
Today we've got two of our favorite customers, Josh and Dre Rapkin, coming in for another car wrap. They are independent promoters for Prove It Ketones, and they have an extremely unique method of promoting their product. They use the Badass Car Wrap, which is where we come in.
It definitely gets a ton of attention. People freak out. I mean, we come out of the store sometimes and people are like waiting by the car to ask about ketones or about the car or whatever, but I mean, I wouldn't say we're super outgoing people, so like it forces us to be a lot more outgoing because people are constantly, it draws a lot of attention, which is the intended, deal.
It serves its purpose.
Yes.
In the past, we've wrapped 4 other vehicles for them, including a Tesla Model X, a Lincoln Navigator, and a Jeep Gladiator when it just came out. But my favorite was a giant Sprinter van, a conversion Sprinter van that was a completely reflective wrap. It was really cool. The entire wrap was reflective from top to bottom. Josh and Dre are super cool people to work with. We love these guys. They always push the envelope on the wrap designs.
I get wild ideas in my head, and I'm not an artistic, like put it on paper kind of guy. So I'm, again, probably not the best client to work with because I'll come to Dale and then Jason and go like, here's what I'm thinking. They always nail it. And it's actually a really fun process. Maybe not so much for them as for me. And if you ask them, we're probably one of the biggest pain in the ass clients that they have. But it always ends up awesome. At the end of it, everybody's always super pumped, especially us.
We have so much fun going back and forth and figuring out how we want to represent our brand and our company. So it's been a lot of fun. And
we even get our kids involved. Yeah. I mean, it's like a whole family thing. Like, what do you think of this? And what color should the rims be? And what do you think? And so it's a really fun process. Like, we look forward to doing this stuff.
All right, so this wrap is going to be super tricky. This is a really expensive, really fancy sports car. It's got crazy body lines. There's a mid-engine, like a Italian sports car. This is the first Corvette to have the mid-engine. It's very, very popular. Everybody loves this car, and everyone's going to be looking at it, so we got to do it right. A few tricky things we're going to run into is we can't get to the taillights the normal way through the trunk, so it looks like we're going to have to remove the entire rear bumper, and probably going to have to do something similar with the front end too, because we can't really get at the headlights there. But you can see these headlights and taillights are really tight into the body, so there's no tucking that in. We have to get that taillight out of the way so the vinyl can pass underneath, so it looks primo. Whenever we do one of these real fancy cars, we do take it apart. This is standard 3M procedure that we follow, although the chrome that we're using this time is an Avery chrome. I believe if the design is going the way that I think it is, we're going to be putting some reflective on top of the Avery chrome. So this is a very much a hybrid car with a bunch of different vinyls on it. The graphic elements and the branding on the car will be 3M reflective vinyl, and the base of the wrap will be Avery blue chrome. Really just going crazy with this one.
A long time in the making.
Funny enough, actually, like I would send so much stuff into these guys and then they would come back and be like, no, can't do that, or yes, we can do this. So they kind of kept putting me in my place in a good way and to like what was possible, but also what would be quality and last versus just, yeah, we'll take your money and put whatever you want on there. So like that's what I really enjoy about the process. Like I really feel connected almost in like a family way of like, we're going to do what's best for you, not just what you want.
All right, y'all, so I grew up in my dad's body shop. He had a body shop for 30 years. I painted my first car when I was 14. So it was always a process on how to paint a car. You take a car apart, you paint everything, you put it back together. So when I started doing wraps 30 years ago, that's exactly how we did wraps as well. So we take the cars apart just like it's a custom paint job, which definitely increases our labor time in actually doing the wrap, but it's recommended by 3M and other wrap companies because this is the proper way to do it. But I want you to see this vet. This is a brand new car. I don't even know if it has 100 miles on it. Look at the front end clip of this car. We just ripped the whole nose off of this car. Come in here and take a look at this door panel. So the interior door panels we remove off the cars as well, so we could get this rubber molding off, wrap the wrap into that molding, and then put the molding back down. It's the only proper way to do it, because if you don't take this rubber molding off, you have to cut this vinyl right here at the rubber molding, which puts a blade on your paint job, and it's the first place that water can intrude and ruin your wrap. So this is a crucial part. And you know, this is something else, because my guys have been doing this for a lot of years, but this is their very first Corvette, and the whole rear end of this car is ripped off. I came in here this morning, I'm freaking out. Oh Jesus, I didn't even see that coming off of there. I saw the front but not the back. But once again, it's the only way to do it properly. Look at the dedication and the time that it takes going into this car before we even put the first square of vinyl on it. So I'm sending our client a picture of his car torn to pieces. I'm not sure I should do that, but he's got to see what we're doing to this crazy car. Man, I don't know. Everybody freaks out. You know, it's cool. If we get done and there's a coffee can full of bolts left over, that's a problem. That never happens.
All right, so this is Avery Conform Chrome in blue. They make this in several colors. We did Dale's Mercedes in the black version of this, which was really neat, but we all really like the chrome. But the downside of using chrome is that it's extremely particular. We have to keep the wrap tent super clean and cover the tires and any open areas of the body that may hold dust or dirt that could get underneath the vinyl while it's being applied. Because chrome vinyl has a mirrored surface, it shows any scratches or dirt very easily. You see it in the reflective surface. So we have to be real careful to keep the body of the Corvette extremely clean while we're applying. Also, because of the mirrored surface, we have to use special tools to apply the vinyl. So we always use 3M knifeless tape when we're wrapping vehicles, so we don't have to cut on the vehicle's paint. But this chrome vinyl requires a special knifeless tape, one that's a little more tense, that'll cut through the chrome vinyl easily. If we didn't use the special knifeless tape, it would leave a chattered edge, which just looks awful, and we don't want that to happen. We also need to use a softer squeegee, covered in a felt material. Keep that squeegee wet as well, so it glides over the surface of the chrome.
Is it hot? Yes.
Chrome vinyl also needs a lot of heat to be applied properly, so we can stretch around these corners and curvy surfaces. So we went ahead and purchased a special vinyl heater. This warms up larger sections of the vinyl to make it more pliable and easier to apply. This vinyl also requires a lot of intense teamwork. A lot of hands are required to hold the vinyl in place while other guys are laying it down. It's very challenging, especially with all the undulating body lines of this Corvette. It's a crazy extreme wrap. Quite frequently, it's very frustrating being a wrap designer. There's only so much these vinyls can do with these extreme contours, especially with a car like this. I mean, look at the side of this car. It's got a big vent right through it. It's all kinds of body lines. There's air diffusers and all kinds of stuff to wrap around. So we try and take that into consideration while we're designing to create places for the vinyl to break. If I'm using more than one color, I'm not just wrapping the whole thing blue. That gives me the opportunity to use some of that other color to break the chrome into smaller, more manageable chunks. Anytime you do that, anytime you get the vinyl down to a more manageable size, it makes it a little bit easier. When you have to go all the way and not mess up the whole time is when it's almost too challenging, especially with insane body lines like this. So this is definitely one of the craziest parts of this car. You can see there's a huge air splitter that comes out of the side. There's a huge air intake. We have a single piece that's gonna wrap in here, and it's kind of crazy because it has to be real long so that we don't have to put a seam along this length, but it also has to be high enough to catch all this. So what we're thinking is we're gonna go ahead and do the piece this tall and just put a small seam here. The big black vent that comes in here will cover most of the seam. There'll be a little bit of it, but if we point it downwards, you'll never see it. It'll blend right in. We knew we would have to be flexible with our designs. We're changing things as we go, as we need to. We really don't want to change the design too much. The customer approved the design already, but there's only so much we can do with this vinyl, and we're doing our best to make it as similar to the design as possible.
You guys have a favorite of all of them that you've done?
Honestly, I love them all for different reasons. I'm really excited to see the newest one because we haven't seen it yet, and it's probably going to be my favorite. No, I don't have a favorite. I love them all for different reasons.
So the front bumper and the back bumper aren't on the car right now. We've taken them off so that we can get to them more easily, so we'll be able to wrap and pull around them. But they're definitely going to be the most challenging part. We haven't done them yet. We've gotten these bigger panels on, but we're about to tackle those bumpers, and boy, is it going to be challenging. There's so many body lines, air splitters, intakes. It's going to be nuts.
Doing it again. I f***ed it up.
I'm recording.
Take two. I know.
Chrome.
One of the biggest concerns that we run into with this chrome vinyl is how expensive it is. Pete and Lumpy have to be extremely careful to plan out the entire process. They also have to decide where they're going to put the knifeless tape to do the seams to keep them down to a minimum and hide them. And we can't get the vinyl to stretch into every corner, so we use other vinyls to accent the inner parts of deep channels. That way we don't have to overstretch the vinyl. If you overstretch this chrome vinyl, it cracks. So they can't make many mistakes because there's only a few small pieces of scrap left over. So if they screwed up on any of these large pieces, we would have to order an entire new roll. And that'd be very costly, and Dale would definitely lose his shit. I've been working with Pete and Lumpy for a lot of years, and they still amaze me with what they can do with vinyl. Because that rear bumper, it was so difficult, but it looks phenomenal. I'd say, you know, in the grand scheme of things, we're about halfway. After we get all this chrome on, there is still a lot of black vinyl that goes on top and some reflective accent pieces that go on top of it as well. So we're a little ways from being done, but we're making good progress. So after we've got all this vinyl on this car, we've got to remember how we took it apart and put it back together very carefully, not damaging the awesome wrap that we just put on it. That'll be fun to watch. I sure hope they labeled all the screws.